Hello, I'm getting ready to mask up some more parts for the Ducati, the Tamiya Ducati 1199. It's a 1/12 scale, I believe, 24 scale. Anyway, this is how far it is now. It's just kind of the cowling and things that need to be painted. The flarings and things, and I'm working on the cowling, which is that there. So hopefully you enjoy watching the video. Alright, so this particular kit, it comes with what they call demarcation stickers, which is this sheet here, except that they're not stickers. You actually have to cut them out, but then you can apply them, and they're basically masking stickers so that you can mask off the part and paint a little bit easier. What I am going to be doing now is this part down here, and this is the part. So I've already cut out the demarcation stickers, so I just need to apply them. And I've already painted this white, or pure white, which is what the base color is, and so that way when next color will be red, Italian red, or something like that. So once I apply the stickers, protective stickers of the masks, then I can paint the whole thing red. And then after that, there is black that needs to be applied kind of to the bottom. So it's a couple step process. Again, I've already cut these out. We'll see how well that goes. It would have been nicer if they would have cut them out already, since they have that ability, but they wanted to make it a little bit more exciting for us, the modeler and the consumer. Alright, well, didn't get this cut all the way. So that should do it. Hopefully. Yep. So this is the one side. Now, fun part of applying. Looks like they made it so they overlap a little, which is nice, in the center. Yes, I'm concentrating, sorry, not talking while I'm doing this. It didn't go down straight. Need to be careful I don't scratch the paint that's underneath here, because that would be bad. To basically start all over again. Didn't go down straight, so I'm trying to lift it here gradually. With the knife, and as I said, I'm trying not to scratch the paint underneath. Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. my tweezers. Hopefully, by the time I actually do get it down, I don't end up removing kind of all the stickiness from this mask. That wouldn't be good. Not too bad. So that's one side. So now the other side. As I was saying, at least with, I should have checked to see if, well, it's A, it doesn't tell me how, which one goes first, it just has an A and B side, which is pretty obvious on how they would attach, but it also looks like at least down here in the cowl, in the nose of the cowl, they overlap, which is nice, I think. At least I'm reading that as overlap. Hopefully that's not to say that, let's put it, the overlap I think is accurate. Okay. So that side went down nicer than the other side. That's usually the case though. Second time is easier than the first time. So there's, my fingers out of the way, there's the mask on there. It's that yellowy, there you go, maybe a little better, kind of the yellowy part. I still need to, it actually says in the instructions to apply tape over these areas there, because they're not actually covered by the mask, but they, I guess you don't want to get paint down into them, but it doesn't tell you how, if you should tape all the way around it. Let me look at the front here, because that doesn't help very much. Okay, so I'm using my painter's tape, which is extra sticky. Looks like ran out, but that's okay. I've got more kind of sitting back over there on the bench. Hello and welcome to the channel, those that are just arriving. Ooh, just be careful I don't break anything. My fat fingers. So again, all those that are just arriving, this is the motorcycle model as it sits currently. It's probably like 97% done. I'm just now doing the last bits here, which are the cowl. To start with, I still have to do the flaring or fairings also, but the cowl is first. I'm just checking to see how that lines up. because I think this inside needs to be painted also. But I'm just deciding if I want red paint kind of up in there or not, up inside of it. Basically, it doesn't, again, the instructions don't tell you this part exactly. I guess if you went and looked at a Ducati, a real one, you would know. But since I'm not a motorcycle rider, I don't know. What I'm going to do is just cut it back. This part's kind of underneath the cowl, and there's actually a this piece here kind of goes inside of it, but it doesn't cover everything, and so I'm just trying to minimize the amount of lines I'm generating on the inside here by masking things and not masking other things. This is why I've saved these till this part to the end, because I knew it was going to be time consuming. And I was right. So right in the sense of time consuming. So but that's the way it goes, right? This is all the exciting part, right? Almost as exciting as watching the paint dry. Which I promise I won't do that, won't let you watch that, because that's going to happen while when I finish masking it, I'll step outside and paint it, and then let it sit probably overnight to dry, and then decide if I'm going to mask up the fairings or not, because those are the next part to be painted. And like I said earlier, I've been putting all this off because I didn't want how time consuming it was to kind of get this all right. Because you also don't want to have, if you can help it, a line in the paint that doesn't look right. Because again, all this is, I'm masking for what will be red. Like I said earlier, I don't want to scratch the white paint, because then we'll just have to do this all over again. This particular part came white, but so you could almost choose not to paint it, but it says to paint it, and what you're painting is what's called pure white, so it's a little bit glossier, obviously, than the plastic by itself. So that's why I chose to paint it. what I'm doing is I'm taping up kind of in this edge here. There's a little bit of a reveal, and I'm just trying to cover that if I can, so that, again, it stays white. Okay. The exciting part of modeling or model making is spending that was a joke. I do enjoy this bit. This is the part that I don't enjoy as much. So then you might say, why am I doing it? It's relaxing. Even though it might not be as enjoyable as the rest of it, it's still relaxing. There's also kind of these little areas that I'm taping over are where the side mirrors go, so I don't have to be 100% careful with it, because they're going to be basically covered over with the side mirrors once they get glued in, but that's on the outside, not necessarily kind of on this inside that I'm trying to protect now. Just a little bit more, and then I can go paint. Yes. Okay, so there it is, all blue taped up, inside and outside. There's a little bit of a space I'm trying to tape up now. I just saw. Now it's trying to get a piece of tape that'll go over it. That didn't work. Basically went over exactly where us other piece that's there is. Feel better. Okay, well, that shifted. It's basically telling me hurry and paint because the pieces keep shifting around. That didn't work very well. Let's try the other side. Let's try this one. Not that much, not that good. The front cowl here has a hole there on the back side, and I'm just trying to make a piece of balsa wood stick that I can use to kind of stuff in there, because almost the these alligator clips, these things here, will mark it up. So there we go. It's close enough, kind of. So there we go. I'm going to go outside and paint. And this is the paint I'm using. It won't focus. Like high bind, does it focus? Nope. Anyway, it's TS8 Italian Red, the Tamiya. It's not working that well to kind of keep it in place. Don't want to be too forceful with it because, okay, that fits onto a little peg on the front of the bike, and if I'm not careful I can enlarge the hole too much and then it won't fit right. So here we go, we'll paint it and I'll be right back. Can look at that if you like. That's the progress I've made so far. Alright, I'm back. So there is the first pass of paint on it. Now I just gotta stick it up here and let it dry enough that I can at least get another coat of paint on it tonight, maybe. With the first round of paint, it'll probably need at least 2 or 3, maybe more, to get it a nice color or nice red. The other parts you can see kind of the gas tank and the back fairing. Those are at least 2 or 3. The difficulty with them was that the tank, actually, I did gray primer on accident. Once I kind of glued it together and bonded everything, or filled the crack and everything, or the seam, sanded it all down, and I primered it in black because I wasn't thinking, or in gray. So then I ended up using a flat white over top of that to hope to lighten it up, because once you put the red on top, it was turning darker red than the back piece here. This back piece here, which was just over straight white plastic. Now they at least are a pretty close match. At least they seem like it, but that could be my eyes that are playing tricks on me. These are the other fairings that need to be painted also, and they're this seam right there, everything on top of it is white and below that is red, and then the whole back is black. So it's a nice combination of deciding when to paint what. And it also has masks just like the front cowl did. The sequence, I think, is going to be mask off the white, paint the front red, and then mask off the red, and then paint the back black. And then that should hopefully work out all right. So that front cowl that we just painted, that also needs the kind of the back at the bottom, maybe 20% of it black, which is, if you look here, it's that stripe kind of right there in the kind of the front nose. That all has to be black, and then the lighter is the red. Instructions that this kind of last, at least the instructions kind of give you at least the sequence, because you can see the whole thing starts white, and then you mask, and then you paint the red, and then you paint the black, which obviously it's a good sequence to do, because of you wouldn't want to, I guess you could paint everything black, and then come back in and mask and paint red, then paint white, except that the white will be more gray because of the dark black, the dark color underneath it. So starting with a light color, the white, and painting it white also to kind of get this kind of pure white, they call it, is a better way to start. So I wasn't going to do these bottom pieces, but I might as well, since I'm on a roll, at least if you want to call it that. So, and these I painted, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 coats, maybe 4 or 5 coats of white, and then I've only actually painted the top half. The top half has a lot nicer coat than the bottom half, which is fine, because that, again, that seam line, or seam, is the bottom part is going to be red when we get it all done. So hopefully it all looks nice. What I'm doing now is, again, cutting out these here and this side one here, Kind of see this one and this side one are one side, that one and that one are the second side, and they'll mask off the white just like in the cowl there, and then we can paint the red as the first round of paint. I would say this might be obvious to most people, but make sure you start with a sharp X-Acto blade, otherwise you won't be liking it, the results, because this is kind of like a thin piece of tape that I'm cutting through, so what you don't want is it to kind of bunch up as you run the blade kind of across it, especially at the kind of corners where you have the you're cutting away from an edge that you've just cut. So that's one. Looks like for the most part we cut through. All right. Let's do the next half. Actually, not half, but the next piece. Sorry, I'm not talking very much. I'm concentrating so I don't cut through the mask on accident. If I have extra, I know I just said that twice, but having extra around the outside doesn't hurt anything. It's the opposite that hurts, obviously. As people say, it's easier to cut something shorter than it is to add material. Alright, it should be, looks like it's through. So now we make sure C and D. So C and D are this side. So let's put this one over there so I don't try to put it on the wrong one. And so I'm not successful at putting it on the wrong one, I should say. Now again, trying not to scratch the paint on these parts. And at the same time not knock over things. I have a piece of paper towel down on the tabletop here to keep it from scratching from me dragging the part across the top, the surface there, so it doesn't get scratched. At least that's the idea. I think that's close. The one thing with these fairings that is nice is that the edges are actually kind of, in some of the cases, this top kind of edge in here, it goes into another piece on the bike and is kind of hidden so that it's not as critical to have it totally a nice edge at that, kind of at that, at the edge there. Just trying to make sure that I have there's a nice line in the plastic here. I'm just trying to make sure that it's even. Looks like it is. I might put a piece of tape down this edge anyway, just as a precaution. Now this one's going to be a little bit more exciting because it's got it folds over kind of on itself in the middle there. I'll show you once I kind of peel it off here. Hopefully I don't tear it. Or rip it, or, well, tear it and rip it are the same thing, but, so you can, maybe you can't see, but there's a little, right, that little kind of shadow space in there, where it kind of wraps around this part, so you're trying to be super delicate with it. Oh, that's why. So, didn't notice that, but there's actually, we're exposing a part of the top also, so it's painting kind of a top and bottom. Hopefully there's kind of a line I can find. What I'll do maybe is start on this part in here instead. Maybe. So, almost worked. There's a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave it and I'll put other tape over it. because that will be easier than trying to peel it off again and reposition it. So there it is in the mass. What I'm talking about, you're probably not going to be able to see it, but kind of, no. Well, anyway, in this little tongue, I didn't get it all the way down unseated as far, kind of pushed down as far as I could. It needs to go a little bit more to actually cover the edge. So again, what I'm going to do is just, I think, you know what, I'm just going to peel it up and hope I don't regret doing that. So far okay. Better. Yeah, almost the same. A little slightly better, but about overall about the same result. So we'll go back to the original plan of pieces of small tape that are kind of overlapping the edge there. Again, thank you everybody for watching so far. All 2 of you that are still watching. Hopefully it's somewhat entertaining. If not, thank you for sticking it out anyway. So here we go with red. I think we're pretty good. Put a little bit over, tape over that edge there. I think all this back here is going to be black, so I'm not going to be too, try not to be overly successful. But let me cover this up here, this seam, a little bit better if I can. Okay, pretty tape job, huh? All right, so okay. So I think we're good. At least good to paint. So again, here is the before. Let me cut this here. Before, and let me go and paint the red. This one I can use the stick on because I have a little bit of a nub. Except that I want that nub to go away. It's in the bottom. I will do it. Let me paint it first once, and then I can tape it up and I'll be right back. So there we go. Looks kind of orange in the camera. It's not. It's red. What I'm going to do now also is I'm going to put another coat on the front cowl. Make sure I don't put my arm in the other one that I just painted. And I'll be right back. too bad. And the camera makes it look orange. It's not orange. I assure you it's red. Again, it's called Italian red. Or probably almost like a Ducati red, even though it's not called that. So now I will mask or cut out the mask for the second one. Let me kind of get stuff. Let me put this over. Nope, not there. Just so I don't knock it over. What I'm doing is I'm checking the back to see if I've cut all the way through. That'll tell me if there's any areas that I missed or I didn't basically cut. Cutting all the way through doesn't necessarily help either, because then you end up with a sticker attached to the piece of paper backing, and might be more difficult to peel it off that way, but in this case we're okay. Looks like that's pretty good. Okay. Now we apply the sticker. getting it's close, and I'll do is I'll just use the what I did last time is put a piece of tape down that edge. So it's hard to tell, but I didn't get the mask all the way down as far as it needs to be to help. So I'll just do another piece of tape down on that edge once I get the top one on. Trick with this is to not have to pull it up too many times because it curls each time you kind of misalign it, and then you end up one more in that corner. I can see some white poking through, which means that I'm going to get red paint on it. I don't want to do that. At least I don't want to do it if I can help it. Okay. Looks like that's going to get some, but how does that? It's an exposed edge, so I want more tape. Do this too. Then all right. I think we're close to painting. Let me do a little bit more there. I'll just see an area of white that I'm going to end up painting red if I'm not careful. To be careful I'm not taking paint off, because I don't want to have to repaint this white. Well, I don't want to start all over again, basically. So again, if I can help it. messing with it, otherwise you'll mess it up. Okay, so this one is ready, and I'm ready for its coat of red paint. Be right back. There it is, all orange, at least on the camera. It's not orange in person. Give this another coat. That's a second coat, third coat, maybe. Let me do the front cowl once more. It's already got 2 coats. I'm going to do a third coat. Looks pretty good. Kind of checking for any kind of thing, kind of dust in the surface. Looks alright though, so far. Alright, be right back. So that's probably third coat, fourth coat, I don't know, something like that. Anyway, so that's it for tonight. Thank you for watching and bearing with me as I walked in and out of the garage to paint and come back. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see